Sending out the invites. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Okay, there we go. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today I'm doing coffee. Barely waking up still. Ooh, super excited for today's guest, you guys. I hopped on and I didn't do a check-in, so I hope everybody's ready. So for today, super excited about today's guest. She's an amazingly talented customizer in the toy world. This woman's a beast. She is a machine. Good morning. Oh, it says unable to join. Let's try this again. Ah, pues ninguno. She is a California artist. I'll give you guys a little background. While I try and get everybody in. So today we're going to be having... Ah! What's up?
Yeah.
What's up?
What's going on?
Good morning.
Good morning.
What did you decide on? Oh, well, first and foremost, hold on. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, pew, pew, pew,
Oh, exciting.
pew. I don't have any other.
Sound effects? No, that was good. I
Yeah.
liked it. It was good.
Okay,
Keep going with that.
cool. How did it go?
It was good. It was quiet. I was oh man, my desk was a disaster. So I was
Mm,
cleaning it up and just kind of getting ready to reset and finish the rest of the shit that's on my desk.
yeah. Isn't it the craziest part when you clear it? It's like, what the hell? I feel like I'm missing something. Did I put
Yeah.
something away that I shouldn't have? It gives me a little
Yeah.
bit of anxiety when my desk is empty.
I'm like, I always think I put it, okay, this is where I'm going to put it, and it's going to be where I can remember it, and I'll find it. And then next thing you know, I'm turning my desk. Where did I put it?
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Never fails. Never
Yeah.
fails.
Yeah. But in the moment, it's like, oh, look at how beautiful, clean. I could see everything.
We're not quite there. I have like a bunch of stuff that's like barely halfway kind of worked on. So
Beginning stages.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
No, I ended up putting a shelf. I've got like a 3-tier shelf right here on the side of my desk. So,
nice.
like, you'll just sit there until it's time. Yeah. So, I'm not sure. I tried inviting Purple, but I'm not sure if she's not able to get in. We'll keep trying. So I settled on coffee this morning, very much needed. 5 shots.
Very nice, very nice.
I invested in an espresso machine, and it's like the best investment ever. No more Starbucks ever.
Yeah, this is gonna keep me alive. It's great.
Yes, it's going to
Yeah.
sustain me. I mean, I'm going to be having probably like 12 shots a day now.
Yeah. Remember
Exactly.
like that was one too many. When you're trying to
Yeah.
get with sculpting and painting, that's not gonna be great for your line work.
That's
But
true.
you'll
It
figure it
won't
out.
be.
You'll
Yeah, I'll
work up
figure.
to it.
Exactly. Okay, so I guess we could start with introductions. All right, I want to wait a little bit longer for Purple. Let's try again because I'm trying to invite, and for whatever reason, it's not. I don't know if it showed that she was here yet, or if there's an issue. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here we go. I think maybe. Let's try. Let's try. Technical difficulties. Oh, I don't know why it says she's not able.
Did she? I went and checked to make sure that I was updated before I joined in.
Oh,
just
okay.
just to not have any problems. I did that
That's
this morning.
true. Yeah, because
Um,
sometimes that could be an
yeah,
issue. So, Perp, if you're in, I don't think I see her. So maybe she exited and tried to
she's
come
there
back.
now.
Ah, there we go. Yeah. I was so jealous of your dim sum yesterday, though. I was like, oh,
Oh, no, it's good. It's better when you
damn.
go there, but man, it was killer. It's been
Yeah,
a while.
yeah. Well, dim sum, period. It's like
Yeah.
I've even been compromising and dealing with, well, there's some gluten-free options, so we'll get the frozen ones, and they're still better
Yes.
than none.
Yeah. Sure, that's killer. I'll have to see some. So.
Mm.
Hello.
There you are.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Yessie. Okay, let's
How's it
go.
going?
Starting off with my caffeine. Vanessa, what did you decide on? You said caffeine too?
Um, so I decided to do a mix of both. So I may have put a little extra something in my coffee.
Oh, see, smart. That's what I should have done. Mm, mm.
That's always a fun time.
So I guess we can start with introductions.
Sure.
So Priscilla and Yessie, we've got P and P because she goes by Purple. Her handle. I always forget your full handle. Purple Miss 24. I see.
NC24,
Yeah.
yep.
And so we do brunch chats with fellow artists to get to know a little bit more about them. Today we have Vanessa on, so I guess we could start with what you do, your name, where you're from, all those details that you feel like throwing out. And if you don't remember any of the questions, fill it in. I
I'm
never
gonna talk
remember what people
forever.
ask
No.
me. Yeah, yeah.
I'm like I know I go off on tangents. It's the
Yeah,
worst.
me too. I
Feel
love
free to
it.
reel me in. It's fine.
No, 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 no. We want to go out there. Go way
All right.
left field.
Yes, that's what we hope for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Vanessa. Vanessa Ramirez. I didn't have a cool artist name, so that's what I just went under that. Um, let's see. I make monsters. I didn't start making monsters. I started doing like line art and stuff. Um, sorry, I'm gonna turn my fan down. I was like sweating because when every time I put my makeup on, all of a sudden I start just sweating,
Yeah, let's
and
just melt it off.
it just starts melting like, immediately. Anyway, sorry. See, tangent. Anyway, so yeah, so I started doing like line art and I was drawing and stuff like that, and that's kind of was the first few like customs and stuff that I did. I have a head like around here it is. So like this style, kind of did like a little mustachy guy,
Yes.
line art.
The dapper
And
guys.
the depth guys. And then I did my first decon and I saw kind of the cool stuff people were doing with resin. And I wanted to kind of um, learn how to sculpt. And I don't know, I just started doodling these monsters. And that's kind of what happened. I kind of fell into it. So I
Yeah.
started teaching myself how to do resin, made a bunch of mistakes. It was awesome. A lot of wasted money. Wasted a lot of clay learning. That was also awesome. Very frustrating. I was very impatient. I had to learn some patience.
Hmm.
Uh, and yeah, so now I make monsters, and I wasn't great at sculpting, so I had to figure out ways to make texture, and that's kind of how my style developed. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
from Southern California. I'm in Burbank, and I think those are all the questions you asked, but I'm not sure.
I love it. Do you have you ever weighed any of your pieces like to know what the heaviest piece is that you've made?
Yes. I
And
weighed my giant monster that I took to decon 2019. That motherfucker weighed
how tall was he? How
20
big?
20.
Like,
He was 2 foot and like he
oh
was like 20
shit.
24 pounds.
Damn, 24 pounds.
It
That's
was
like
like
a
it was like a
baby.
toddler. It
Yeah.
was huge.
Damn.
I had to
An
put a seatbelt
indestructible
on him.
tons. What was that?
I had to put a seatbelt on him in the car. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was good.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow. How many hours do you think you put in? Because I'm picturing so much texture in his fur.
On the big guy, so I'm a little bit not always the best person to plan things out. So on top of designer con, I decided I was like, it's October. I'm gonna finish this giant monster. So I had already built the armature, and I had used like there's this like a, epoxy type clay. I think it's called it's foam something. I don't know. It's from Smooth On, and it's like a
Mhm.
lightweight
Oh
clay.
yeah.
Yeah. So I used that to kind of make out the form because it was going
Mhm.
to be so big, and I was like, I don't want this to be like 100 pounds. So
Exactly.
I went ahead and I based out that with like just kind of shaping the face and the body and all that stuff, and then I went ahead and I started sculpting October, and I finished the week of decon painting.
Wow.
Um, and I worked on him a little bit every day. So
Mm,
on
dang.
top of my other decon stuff,
Everything else. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Wow.
it was good times.
Yeah, sounds like me. It's like, oh, let's just maximize the anxiety. Let's add another project. Let's throw it all together, make it happen.
I always start with the list. I have a spreadsheet, and I'm like, I'm
Hmm.
gonna do this many of this. I'm gonna do this many of this color, this color. Try to plan everything out, and then I'm like, why don't I do this too? And then I'm just
Yeah.
it's chaos,
Oh, yeah.
chaos.
I love it. But something about that pressure, I don't know why. It's like I don't have enough stress. I don't think I'm going to complete everything. I need a little bit more stress and then I can. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know why.
yeah.
Same thing
I
here.
thrive off of it. I'm trying to be a little more zen these days because and
Yeah.
not be so chaotic. But that said, it's where the cool stuff's made.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I've been trying
Absolutely.
to get that big monster. I had been trying to do it.
That's when you get that unexpected
Yeah,
piece.
yeah. And I had been
Exactly.
trying to get that thing going for 2 years. I had started the armature 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and I didn't touch it. And then I was like, okay, it's time. And I just started making him, and I did it in those 2 months. And I'm it was chaotic, but it is. It's just I guess they say pressure makes diamonds, something like that.
And then it's like you think about it, right? He took so long to finish and execute, but the amount of time spent on him, it's like, why didn't I do this a long time ago? Because the
Yeah,
same thing, I'll be like, okay, I'm putting it off. I'm putting it off. Okay, we're gonna do it. And then it happens in like a day or two or like a week, you know?
yeah. Or I start it and then I overthink it. I'm like, wait, am I doing this right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I that's how it is even like for my solo. Like I'm like, okay. And I usually have to get a couple done early so I can do photo shoot and everything. But for the first, for like postcard, whatever.
Hmm.
And then I'm like, am I doing this right? Does this look right? And I overthink it. And then it gets like towards the time and I'm like, oh shit. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, see, I think that's part of my process too. Like I will hold on to a piece and it'll literally be like I have three pieces staring at me here because I can't, I'm constantly overthinking. Okay, do I want to go this route, that route? And instead of like applying it and then having to remove it, I go through that thought process and I keep going through it. And then now it's crunch time. And it's like, okay, whichever one of you ideas comes out. So maybe
Yeah.
that helps. Maybe that's part of
Yeah.
it. I don't know.
Like I get all my so I mostly would base things off of like doodles, even if they don't look exactly like them. I just try
Okay.
to get my ideas down. So like I'll print them all out and I'll chop and I'll cut them up and then I'll put them down and then I'll shape out the like maybe half of them. I'll do like the foil part and put
Yeah.
some and then lay them down. I'm like, okay, which one do I want to start on? And then I kind of go from there. And if it's not working, then I'll and then I'll just kind of like and then I can't just work on like one or two pieces. I have like four, five, six. And when I start getting to like too many, I'm like right now, I'm like, okay, reel it in. We need to
Yeah.
finish this, and then okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
finish these, and then I'll get to these. It's
But
it's like
that's so much.
I don't
Yeah.
learn though. It's like I don't learn, but it's like I have so many ideas, and then it's like things aren't working out, so then I start something else, and it takes a lot of reeling in and just saying, okay, stop, assess what's going on. What are we going to work on? Move these over so you're not even looking at them. So I have my shelf of misfit toys right here of stuff that I haven't finished.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, so yeah, it's a process.
Do you guys feel like the fact that you go through so many processes and like want to put everything out there so fast, it's kind of the way that you put it down on somebody would put it down on paper, like to be able to remember it?
Um, I'm not super fast, so I'm never like pushing. I got to get all this stuff done because unless it shows, obviously. Um, but normally I like to at least the way that I've always worked up until more recently is I would just draw a bunch and get a bunch of ideas out and then I'd go through afterwards and be like, I want to see that sculpted. I want to see, and I would make little notes of them, or I would scan them, and then, like I said, I would print them out, and then I would decide. And then if those weren't working as I was going, I just kind of put them off to the side. So it just depends. Like obviously, when you're on a time crunch, you just got to go with it. And I try to go with my gut instinct because it's usually, what I see. And occasionally, as you're going, it changes. So it varies. I think timelines are great because you actually finish. If you don't have timelines, you'll never finish because
Yeah,
you're always going to be something different. Add this, add that.
exactly. That's what I tend to do. I tend to create my own timelines, and it's usually before whatever piece deadline is due. So if I'm working on something, my stuff has to be in between that. So I can give myself like a week. So, but for my process, it's like kind of similar to my drawing process. And I didn't even really realize that until the creatives pop-ups when we went in person, and then I didn't think it through, and they're like, "Can you draw something?" And so the first time that I'm being, asked to draw on the spot, and so now it's like I know I'm gonna have to do that for conventions because well, no, actually, Decon was the first one, and I kind of freaked out. I was like, I don't know what to draw, and so I drew a hammerhead, and Sharky has it because her name's Sharky, so or her nickname's Sharky, and I was like, oh, let me draw her a shark. Shark is not my wheelhouse. I draw a hammerhead, and then I'm like, he needs a body, and it was just so deformed, and he had like a propeller hat, and that was anxiety. So for me to sketch it out and like define right then and there, it took a little bit of practice. So usually it's just like I kind of want it to look happy, and then I'll kind of draw the gestures. And then I'll fine tune it when I'm working on the piece. But my drawings are a hot mess. They're chicken
Yeah,
scratch.
my first decon, I was like, because I draw in pencil mostly. So
Mm,
after my first decon, I was like, okay, people come with markers and stuff, and I was like, I need to prepare myself next time. So I would started drawing in pen, and then I started like just doing little doodles in marker, like on the boxes and stuff. And that
okay.
gave me like that gave so that way you can draw them something cute, small, and fast. I'll
Yeah.
doodle on my receipts, like when I send out orders.
Oh,
You just get used to that, and that way you can give somebody a little something.
yeah.
And yeah, so that's what I did. So I just kind of like started with like permanent media, so I'm not overthinking it. I'm like, okay, well, the stroke needs to do this, that I guess it's doing that then,
Yeah.
and you just go with
Yeah.
it. So i
Oh,
just
that's
i
awesome.
just practice with markers and permanent, like ink, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it's like at the beginning, I used to, when the amount of production was a lot smaller. At the beginning, I would draw stuff on all sides of my boxes, and then I didn't have the bandwidth anymore. But before, that was a fun process. It was chill. I'm gonna draw this. It was a slower. It wasn't the same anxiety as like somebody standing there waiting. It's like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Oh.
yeah, no, it is. And having them like sit there like watching, I'm like, oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
uh I do. I like to just do like I mean I don't like people watching me draw, but I've kind of gotten used to it a little bit over the last few years, and little by little more people ask for doodles and stuff. So like I
Yeah.
said, I have a couple body shapes and a couple things that are go-tos for me. I have a couple mouths that I do, and I just keep it to that, and that's kind of what I do, and I kind of mix them up,
Oh,
or
nice.
and I kind of just kind of go with that, and it kind of takes the pressure off me,
Yeah.
and then I just kind of try to go from there, and occasionally like I'll like I said, I just kind of will draw on random things to try to get out of my head, and try not to overthink it. But yeah, so shapes and ideas, mouths, eyes, little changes like that.
Oh yeah, the in between. I like that. Like to reset something quick to help get your mind off of it.
Yeah,
Do you have sketchbooks, or is it just digital that you'll use in between or
I usually use like just sheets of paper, because those are just, for me, I'm not something that I want necessarily. I'm like, oh, I have to be good to this book, and I have the reason why I do that is so that I don't feel so anxious about like ruining my sketchbook or whatever.
mm,
I shouldn't be
hmm.
so precious about my sketchbook, but
No, that's how I am.
I'm crazy
I
like
and
that.
and I raise the girls like that too. I've got two
Yeah,
girls, and they have their sketchbooks, and they know, how to maintain it. And they have like massive ones and little ones, and the same thing. I understand that anxiety.
I'm so chaotic about it, so I'm like, no, I don't want to ruin my sketchbook. So I'll
Hmm.
just get sheets of paper, and then I'll just, and then that way it's not too precious. It's not something I'm overthinking. And I just kind of like, okay, what shapes do I like? And that prepared me for decon after I felt very unprepared for decon.
Oh,
The
that's
first time was
awesome.
asked for it. Yeah.
All the learning, how do you say all the lessons learned,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope though. How did you,
Are you currently preparing for DCOM this year?
We'll see. We'll see.
not yet.
I got to get past my solo first. I got a solo
Oh
in
my
August.
gosh.
Once I get past that, then I can think about decon. Before
Where's
that,
the solo at?
Stranger Factory.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh my gosh. Do you do one annually? Because didn't you just have one with them? Or was
Yeah, I
that
had one.
a
I
long?
just had one last year.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, more or less, it's annual. Um, yeah, yeah. I think I've only really skipped like a year in
Hmm.
between. I've been doing for a few years. So,
Yeah.
I used to do them earlier in the year, but I'm like, it's just too much pressure
Yeah.
because I was doing decon and all that. So it was like, and I like to take a little bit of time after decon to breathe because I way overdo it all the time. So yeah, so I have solo. Once I think about that, I have my table and everything. So we'll see. I just
Takes
the
a
thought
little
of it.
bit like, yeah, I know. I had anxiety. I was talking about a collab that I'm gonna have for Decon, and then I was like, why are we having this conversation? You're stressing me out. Now I have to start planning. Yeah. It's like you have to decompress. It's a whole process. What does it feel like when you think about like your solo shows compared to Decon? Like, is there a different thought process or approach, or do you still kind of go with it the same way? Like, I'm gonna sketch it, what it is, what it like. What's your process when it comes to that?
um, Shows and decon for me are two different things. Um, when I mean, if I'm doing like for my solo show, I think about a theme, and then I think about ideas for monsters, and then usually I sketch them up more, or I'll think of the ideas and I'll have some sketches that are started. I'm like, I like this thread, I like this idea, and I'll kind of like think of other things that will fit within that so that I have an entire theme that's cohesive.
Mhm.
um and then, but like for things for like decon, I'm like, what do I want to make? How many mini monsters do I want to make? How many colors of each one? And then you know and then I'll sculpt like a bunch of monsters. So my process is, and this is the stupidest thing to do, but at the same time, it's efficient. I will sculpt everything, and then I will look at them and be like, you're going to be blue, you're going to be purple, you're going to be this, you're going to be this. And I separate them, and then I go and I hit paint after that. And then I paint all one color, and then I paint all the next
Uh-huh.
color. And then like the bigger monsters, I'll paint them, but there's a different process to the bigger monsters and the small monsters. And then I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do some resin, I'll do this, I'll do this. This is the colors that I'm going to do. I'm going to do this many of each. And I hate painting, so I generally keep my numbers pretty low.
Mhm.
And I haven't done resin since 2019 because I'm just that person. Um, no, wait, I lied. I did do some. I did those little tree stumps,
Oh
those
yeah.
big tree stumps.
Hmm.
I think, yeah. So the online one was the last time I did some resin. Um, and yeah, so uh, I just have a process. So I'm like, okay, I'll have all these ideas. And with the fun part about decon is I can kind of do more random stuff where
Hmm.
I'll do like, and I know it's not Halloween, but I have I usually annually do pumpkins, and I like to do two or three different ones. Um, and then I'll take whatever's left and I'll take those to decon. And then I like to have like, I get these like funny little ideas. Like I've done like a lamb tar. So I take the fun, quirky ideas. I think I had what did I call him? Sharkosaurus.
Mm.
Um, I had a little burrow that I did. What did I call him? I can't remember at this point, but I did. So like, I just take my random ideas to decon plus
Yeah.
monsters, and so I try to plot out how many I'm gonna do total. So I'll be like, okay, mini monsters, I'm gonna take 40 this year, and then I'm gonna do X amount of mid-size and X amount of large and X amount of. So I try to plan because again,
Hmm.
this is gonna go to the kind of the business side of it. Is I want to make sure I can cover my table. I want to make
Hmm.
sure I have enough of every price point. So like I'll make sure that I have pins. I'll make sure that I have I make magnets, like little monster magnets. And then I have the resin so that I can have you know different price points available for different people, stickers,
Hmm.
things like that. So yeah, I just want to make sure that I take enough to cover table and you know and obviously make money, but you just have to make sure that you take enough, because those are things that I didn't think about on my first designer con. Like I just was like, okay, I'm going to take this stuff, but it wasn't like a thought of like, okay, you need to take more than that so you can make a profit. You need to make
Hmm.
sure that you have all price points covered so that people can come to your table and be like, I can't afford this, but I can buy your sticker for $1 or something like that. So,
Exactly.
and you appreciate all of that stuff. So, I mean,
Hmm.
it's, yeah, so it's just something that I try to think about, but it's like, from doing decon for several years.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a whole learning process for me. I had never been to a convention. The only
Yeah.
convention I went to was your guys' Pop Shop decon version. That was nothing like it. It was
Yeah.
cool getting to, one-on-one with you guys and pop into each room and see, but it was nothing like the
Yeah.
real
It's a
thing.
very different experience going.
Hmm.
Those shows are a lot of fun. They're exhausting, but they're a lot of fun.
Oh
It's
my
just
gosh.
seeing everybody's stuff in person. It's so much different.
Yeah.
And then being able to kind of like, talk to people you meet online and be able to discuss things like, oh yeah, talk about, the artist side of it and just kind of like, how are you enjoying it? How the convention going for you? It's like the same. Everybody talks about the same. How's it going for you? What do you
Yeah.
think? Is there
Yeah.
traffic?
Yeah.
But it's a good time. I enjoy it.
Are you doing 5 points, or have you ever done 5 points?
I've never done 5 points. I haven't quite got out to the East Coast. It's definitely something I would like to do eventually.
Hmm.
Maybe go as a attendee or something.
First, yeah.
I'm gonna have something there. Wait, no, that's something else. That's something else. But yeah, I've never been, but I'd like to attend. Maybe if I have like a little something there, and then I can attend. Who
Yeah.
knows? We'll see. But I just don't want to be. I kind of want to experience like everybody's stuff. If I'm going to go out there, I want to actually see, all the stuff I see online that I never get to see in person.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But again, it's like to make it worth the trip, you want to make the money, but at the same time,
Exactly.
maybe it's like a mini vacation. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
It's always fun to see people in a different environment. Like, and you're used to seeing them at decon, you're used to seeing them at certain types of shows, and then you see them on the other side, and it's completely different most times
Yeah.
than not.
Yeah, for sure. So we had questions that were asked. I don't know. I got some questions. I don't know if you got some, Yessie. We put a poll out there to see if there were any questions that people would like for us to ask our guests. So I don't know if
Oh,
were you able to get any, Yessie? Do you have them with you?
I got like one or
Okay.
two. Yeah, one of the most prominent ones was, who would be your dream collaboration with?
And does it have to be like in the toy world or just any artist there is in the entire world? What do you guys think? Is that
I would, I would go with anything, like whatever your dream
okay?
would be. What would you like to make happen?
collaboration is such a strange thing for me, and it's not that I don't. I'm open to working with people. It's just I'm such a control freak. It's hard for me. Like I just can't like melding two people's vision together. I've actually done a collaboration piece, and it was kind of stressful because we were sculpting together, and we both live in LA, but like she sent it to me, and then she sent it like half painted, and so like we did something like that, and that was really cool, and that was a lot of fun. It's just collaboration to me, and this is gonna sound terrible, but it almost feels like compromise, and I'm such a control freak, so it's hard for me. But that said, I don't know. It's
So
like
it's
the
like
toy.
you're just the idea of trusting them with your vision or like their execution. Like what part of it do you feel
I think it's
like
the
I've
melding of
invested
the
so
vision.
much? Yeah,
I
okay.
think it's the melding, and I'm still kind of figuring my own stuff out.
Right.
And it's hard for me, like with the toy thing, because like I didn't do toys for a long time. It was mostly just sculpting original pieces. And then I had started in customs, but I wasn't very good, so I stopped doing it. And I just started doing original pieces.
Mhm.
Uh, and then a few years ago, um, somebody hit me up for one, and or for a show, and I was like, and like, um, Ghost Fox Toys had asked me to do like a little pigeon. I was like, oh no, I don't customize. Like that stuff stresses me out. And the more that I thought about it afterwards, I was like, mm, and then the opportunity came up, and I think it was I can't remember, but I know one of them was like that big old cause piece,
Oh yeah.
and the
Misappropriated icon.
yeah, I think it was the second one, but and I was like, you know what the hell? I mean, I'm just gonna do it, and it was tough for me because my brain doesn't work that way. Like I literally have only ever done like one dunny before I did that set of them,
Oh my
but
gosh.
it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun to kind of delve into there, but I still don't think I'm quite in that toy part because I'm so much texture, so much that, and I feel like other people are so much more developed in that toy part. So it's hard for me to think of melding my style with somebody else's because everybody else's stuff is so clean, and my stuff is, so the opposite of that.
What if the collaboration involved like companion pieces, like it's a sculpture that's supposed to pair yours? Would that be a
Yeah, I think
safer
that would
realm?
work
Like we're
better.
together, but you're
Yeah,
not
I
going to
think
work
the
on mine. I'm not
mashup.
going to work on. Yeah,
The
yeah,
mash part is the part that I don't know that it'll work. But
yeah.
but like companion piece, I think that could work. So something like that would probably work. It's just for me, I just, you know, I've just I guess it's more on my side where I don't know that that my style will meld well with somebody else's.
Hmm. Yeah. For me, I'm all over the map, so I don't have a style. I envy you having a style. I'm like, I'm gonna go bright, I'm gonna go dark, I'm gonna go this, I'm gonna go, and so I'm everywhere. I'm so scatterbrained. So I feel like I would probably change whatever I'm working on to match that person's style.
Yeah, see,
So,
that's my problem is when I first started, I did this line art, but anytime like that, I think that's probably why I stay away from like fan art. And it's not
mm,
that so there's some people who have their style and they can do
mm,
fan art. I'm not that person because then I start taking on the original. Because I started like I was like, well, when I was trying to teach myself how to sculpt, like I did, I was trying to do like Doug from Up and Carl, and I
mm,
was like, okay, this isn't different than that. It's not my version of that.
mm,
So, and I think that's probably why I stopped customizing because I was like, I don't have a style yet. So my style evolved over the past few years and it's gotten, better. And my painting was struggling from the beginning because and I always worked hard on everything and made it the best that I could at that time. And
mm.
my stuff, I think, and I don't want to disparage anything I've done in the past. I just think it was a growth and it was the best that I could do at that point. And and I'm always pushing it, whether I like the painting or not. My sculptures need the best paint job that I can give them,
Yeah.
because I put so much work into them. So I basically just and I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so it took a long time to develop a specific style, and I still like to do things that are outside of that because it's kind of where the fun's at. That's why I do like a little rock guy, or I do the pumpkins, or I do my random little. I have like a cat. And like last year, I had a bunch of stuff on my desk for Halloween that I just never got to. That's
Hmm.
where that pumpkin with the little arms came from. So I have
Yeah.
crazy ideas that I put out there too. But that's what I keep to my like store stuff, and then I keep my more stylized Tilly the octopus. Oh god.
Yeah. It's got 3 likes.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh, that chump. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's showing appreciation for your work. Dead
Yeah, I'm
Collector
gonna
said
look
that he
down.
didn't own, yeah, he says he's yet to own one of your pieces.
Last year
Oh
was
my
pretty
gosh.
lean for my work. I think after my solo, my mom actually got hurt a couple of times, so I spent most of the end of last year taking care of her while she healed up. Uh, and I don't know. I think I just took a little time to kind of like reset. Um, but yeah, so I had my first release. I didn't realize it had been like a year since I had done like
Mm,
a store release, and so I did
mm,
it. I had it in April, so I'm working towards having another store release on top of a few other shows that I'm working on. But um, yeah. So anyway, we were all around back around. But yeah, thank you for the love on the chomp. That's the
yeah.
one thing that I struggle with as a when I customize. I'm like, okay, you know, I want to show respect to the figure as it's given to me, but at the
Mm,
same time, like if you've seen my work, you know that I tear things apart and I rebuild them, and I try not to go too far where you can see it still
yeah. Hmm.
sometimes,
Yeah.
but Yeah, I guess at this point, if you invite me to a show, you know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cut that
exactly.
motherfucker up.
Yeah, cut a bitch.
So what can you tell us about your upcoming solo show? What is there a certain like theme that you're going for or anything
I'm
like
still working
that?
on the theme. Well, not necessarily working, but I have the theme and everything. But I'm still kind of working out the details of it. So I don't have anything specific I can share just yet. But it is going to be in August, and it's going to be monsters. Um,
Oh, monsters that are furry.
Monsters that are furry. I know, big shocker, surprise.
Surprise.
And they may have horns.
Will
No.
any of them have caffeine? Those are
Yes,
always my
yes.
favorite.
I'm working on a. I'm working. They definitely have more accessories and oh, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
that guy
that
was
piece was a
huge.
monster.
He
Yeah.
was huge. I'm like, oh man, so much work too. And
Oh my
again,
gosh.
I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna touch it too much, and then like every time, I'm like, I
Every
want to try
time.
to keep it, and then I'm like, I don't like those feet. I want these feet, or
Yeah.
I have an idea of how I want it to stand. I'm the worst.
Yeah.
The
No,
the
I'm the
dummies the
same.
dummies were a lot of fun. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, but those ones I was like, pop these hands off. Do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine. For me, it's like part of my process. So it's like I don't have a full vision, right? It's like trying to describe that movie to you with that one guy, you know? And so it's like that's what I'm going to execute. And that's kind of what I go off of. It's like a feeling. It was a scary movie, you know? So it's super general, super broad, I mean.
Have you
And
always
then
worked
what's
like that? Like with
yes.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I'm
interesting.
noticing too my paintings, like I look at some of them and it's like, oh yeah, this is a mess, but I know what that's going to be. I know what direction I know. So it's like I'll throw a lot of just random shit out there and then I'll just keep layering. And so kind of the same thing with my work. And so it's like I want this piece to be whimsical. I want this piece to be, it's like an emotion or a feeling and then I hone in and part of my process is always fucking wanting to throw my piece out the fucking window. I'm like,
Oh, for
fuck
sure.
this. I am over this bullshit. And then it's just like, okay, let's put you down. Hold on. I'm not going to throw you off the fucking Empire State just yet.
You're gonna go to the no corner for a little bit just because you upset me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
when
then
they go in the shelf. They upset me. I'm like, you need to
mhm,
go in there when I can't see you.
I love it.
Uh, but I just oh man, it's such a weird process because like when I first started, I had no like I could not go in blind. I could make
Mhm.
adjustments blind, but I had to draw everything first, and I was really attached to that. And then I think that's where the mini monsters came from. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna flow with the clay and see what happens. And I was
Mhm.
just practicing, and all these little mini monsters started coming out. I was like, all right, let's see what happens. And then people like them, and I like doing originals. I've enjoyed doing customs, but the originals are a lot of fun too because it's just there's no limitations. It's
Exactly.
how am I going to shape that foil? Where am I going to stab that wire in? You know, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I
Yeah.
love it.
And it's like you've got the gestures and expressions down. It is insane. Like you can totally tell with each character that you create. They're so full of life.
I think that was like the first thing as far as like when I started making monsters. I was always really into animation, and I like took like classes on drawing, like that type of thing.
Mhm.
And I guess like when I started sculpting, I was like, okay, my sculptures may not be the best, but I really want expressions to be there, and I want I want to give them a little bit of I've worked on trying to put a little motion into them, or or like it just being this little snapshot of this monster in a very happy, sad, funny, weird moment, and but you still feel like they could like just kind of scuttle off at any moment,
Yeah. Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh, let's see. Questions. More questions. Do you have any more? Do you want me to go off of one? Trade off?
Are you are you also a collector, and is there a particular person or type of piece that you like to
I see all
collect?
my toys behind me. Um,
My own stuff. I like to
Let's
collect my
see.
stuff.
I don't actually. I barely have anything on my house.
No, I'm saying by default because you have all
Um, yeah. I mean, I do have some of like I have like a box of like all the original sculpts where I just kind of shove them out of the way because they make you
Mhm.
crazy. I just don't
Oh
stare at
my
them.
gosh. Hmm.
So, let's see. I have some horrible, adorable stuff. Um, David Horvath. I always really loved his stuff. Um, the ugly doll stuff. That Bossy Bear was one of my favorite characters ever, and he had like little eyes that go in different directions. So,
Oh no way.
um, yeah. Let's see. I got Martin stuff. Um, I guess it's kind of random. Like, there's
Yeah.
so many artists that are just really cool and just make some really beautiful things. And I tend to like. I do have like some Chris Reiniak stuff, like the older stuff.
Hmm.
Um, I just like I tend to like more resin, but at the same I say this as I have like a bunch of vinyl behind me.
Yeah.
But I also like tiny things, so I have like all the micros from
Oh
Super
yeah.
Seven. Um, so I don't collect as much as I used to, just because I don't have a lot of room.
Mhm.
But if I see something like where somebody has a really cool um, style or vision, I'll try to collect it. But yeah, I don't think I have any specific people. I used to be like, I want everything this person makes and that's it. Um, but I think I have to be a little more selective. I also have like Iron Giant stuff. So I'm just all over the place.
Oh, I love it.
There
Yeah.
is no specific thing. I'm seriously, I'm just like, I even have like somewhere around here. Oh, look, I got this one because I love Scream from
Oh
Frank
yes,
Montana.
Frank Montana's.
Yeah,
Oh,
that dude is
Frank.
fucking talented and super sweet. Great guy.
Yeah. Oh, I
Uh,
know. And he's from San Jose too, guys. I don't
oh,
know. Fun
nice.
fact. Yeah.
Fun fact. Oh, and I have some
Hmm.
Beastlies. Like I love Beastlies.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah. So I love Scream, so I got that, and not that I love Frank Montana stuff, uh, but I had to have that. I was like, I gotta get it. I just have
Yeah. Oh my
to.
gosh.
But yeah, in general, it's. I think.
I can tell me.
Yeah,
Well,
I just love stuff like I haven't hung these up yet because shit, I keep dropping. I haven't hung these up yet, but I got these from. He doesn't really make any work anymore, but his name is Jake Waldron. I have quite a few pieces of his.
and those are wall
Um,
mounts. Those are so
yeah,
dope.
I have. I ended up getting both of them. He made two, and they were in this. They were at Stranger Factory forever. So finally, I
Wow.
ended up getting them over the years, and I think the second one had gotten sent back to him. So I emailed him, and because he doesn't make them anymore. But I have quite a few pieces of his, and I love them. There's something about them that's just so charming to
Hmm.
me.
The expression, right?
Yeah. So yeah. So that's I kind of I collect off of emotion, what it gives me and what I get from it. Because I like to look at them. I'm like, oh, these are fucking adorable. Or
Yeah.
having a rough day, I just look at my toys and I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I collect also. I'm always asked, like, is there, like, what is specific that you collect? And I'm like, anything that I find interesting. It doesn't have to be something specific. And I don't like it being something specific either. Like, I like being able to nitpick from here and there and
Yeah, yeah.
wherever.
I like to keep it open because I think there's so many talented people out there, and and if something they make that just really resonates with me, I'll get it. Um, I have to be a little, like I said, I have to be a little more picky now because I don't have a lot of room. But um, in general, I love to help, or not necessarily. I shouldn't say help. I like to support
Support. Hmm.
artists, that are and I'll be honest. I like to support artists that I find to be really, really good people or kind or respectful. Because that's just I like people put good vibes out there.
Yeah.
I may not be a perfect person, but I try to put good vibes in the world. I mean I look very friendly, but I got that area.
The RBF
Uh,
Latina.
yeah, listen, I can't help it. I was
Yeah.
born this way.
Same. Same. We're really friendly, guys. I know we look
Yeah,
scary.
yeah. Like I look like I'll cut you, but I
Yeah.
won't. Probably.
unless you test me.
Unless you test me.
Yeah, seriously.
You look at me sideways.
Or touch my coffee.
Yeah. Touch my coffee, though. That's it.
That's it. You're done.
That's it. But
Yeah,
yeah, so I definitely collect on a more emotion based, I guess you could call it.
okay, yeah. So for me, it's just anthropomorphic foods was what I started off with because that's where I was first creating was a lot of little, like I went through a bear phase, or I think it was either a bear or a cat because my girls like cats. So they have like the puffy, furry face of the animal, and then it's a fruit. So it's like I have strawberries, apples, cut you with a smile. Now we'll really cut you. You go near the
there,
caffeine.
there's gonna be no smile at that point. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm scared of looking. I mean, listen, I am friendly till I'm not, and I give you fair warning. If you don't see the tears
Yes.
coming out of my ears, that's not my fault. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Yeah. I think that applies for all three of us. Yep. She said it in a nutshell.
No, seriously.
Thank you, Sandy. You should be scared.
That's my sister.
Oh my gosh.
That's my little sister.
Should always
Oh, I
be
love
scared.
it.
I thought you
See,
said
she
to
knows
be
what's up.
quiet. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh. So let me think. What were the other questions? Oh, well, for my collection, so I've got anthropomorphic food animals, and then I've got clowns, and then anything in just solid black. So if they're either matte, shiny, it doesn't matter. I'll go for those. But yeah, I have to just keep it to those. I can't go outside of that because then it's insane.
It's good that you can do that. I'm just, because when I first started, I was just like, I want all the things. And after a while, it's like, okay, then you find, those certain artists, but then it's like, you get to the point where you're like, I can't get one of everything. So then so if you're one of those that like completion collectors, it gets
Completion.
more difficult, or those pieces that you really, really want. So, I mean, there have been a few pieces
Mhm.
that I like really, really wanted. So I eventually, was able to get my hand on one or two of them.
Hmm.
But in general, like, I just, I like, and that's the other thing is like, as you're online and you vibe with people, like maybe not everything that they make is for you,
Yeah,
but you try to be supportive in other ways. And then once there's something that they make that just really resonates, like I'm like, hell yeah. But it's great to
exactly.
know these people and kind of get to know them, and I enjoy meeting. And the thing is, most people are really cool, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I give everybody, the benefit of the doubt because I am literally the worst in person. So I know, it's what it is.
I love
So,
it.
Well, you're the worst in
oh, because
person. Like, you don't
I'm really quiet and shy. Like it takes me a while to really open up and be like, oh. So I might be cool here. Then I meet you in person, I'm like, hi, what's up?
Yeah,
Just
nonchalant, but that's not
it
really
takes a
it.
little bit.
It's yeah, yeah. I could see.
like
Yeah, with our community, I agree. I fully agree. It's like um you see the support, right? You see, and even it doesn't have to be a purchase, just, congratulating or reaching out or, admiring if they, chime in on the way that this went or that went. It's always a positive environment and everybody is pretty uplifting, like we'll reach out to each other and we'll talk about stuff and just yeah, it's like humanizing everybody, from the
Yeah,
collector and the artist. And so I think that's a really nice thing to have that in our scene. I feel like in other, I don't know if it's a broader, like with finer arts or other mediums. Ours is such a small, close knit community with, the figures and the toys and the collectors that it just feels more like family. A lot of the times you're hearing from, and then you're talking. It's just a whole different thing. I think that's one thing that kept me here.
I think you're really good with like socializing and all of that because you are the one that was like really friendly with me, and we kind of started chatting and like talking and stuff, and we were, became friendly. Um, I think I don't know. I was kind of off to the side for a while, just
Hmm.
doing my own thing in my own little bubble. So I'm definitely trying to expand out and be a little more, um, be a little more, and I'm guilty of it too, of not being like supportive because I get in my bubble and I can't
Yeah.
see past, what I'm doing. And so I'm definitely trying to do that and be encouraging and stuff. I'm just one of those people that once, when I'm in the middle of it all, I just kind of like, I'm like,
Yeah.
just work.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, I'm the same way too. So it's like when I come
God.
out of my hole, it's like, what's going on, guys? Okay, I'm going
oh my
back in
God.
now.
Yeah.
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 I know it's funny because like I'll be sitting there killing myself getting ready for like the convention or whatever, and then next thing you know, I'm like, after the convention, literally the days at the convention are more exhausting than the leading up to. Like I could sit there and be like, I'm burning I'm sleeping 2 hours, I'm
Oh
working
my
like for
gosh,
hours and hours
yes.
and all that stuff, and then I'm like, okay, and that's convention time, and then it's like I'm like talking to people, and then I'm like, oh God, that was exhausting.
Yeah, your social
Yeah,
battery is depleted. Yeah, it took me forever to recover.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah. I'm like, yep, nope, use it all. Sorry guys, gotta go. Uh,
Same. Same. So one of the questions that I got was, as an artist, what would you tell your younger self? So as far as like if there were lessons, any key, things that would have made it easier for you to develop your style or the direction you went, what advice? What would you say?
I would tell myself to not quit doing it. Um, I stopped for many years. I didn't start again until I was in. Oh God, I didn't start again until was it 2008 or something like that.
Mm,
I stopped after I left high school. I only ever really took like some high school classes, and then I was doing like drawings and stuff. And I think a lot of people tend to think, well, that's the end of that. And I would always get sketchbooks and start drawing, and I wasn't happy with what was coming out. So I'd stop drawing again, and I think you everybody needs a creative outlet, and I think that if I had kept going, I probably would have. But I guess I try not to dwell on that, but I definitely would have told myself that you know it's
to keep,
okay to be creative and keep doing it.
yeah,
But everything happens for a reason. I stopped doing it and came back to it. At this time, so that I can make monsters and do the things that I'm doing now.
yeah.
So
I agree with that advice. I would tell myself the same thing because I also had quit. I didn't realize how important it was to me, and it was my therapy. And so when I needed therapy, it was like, nah, we're into art.
I do both.
Well, no,
I
I've
go.
I've
I do
definitely
therapy.
done
I do art,
therapy.
and I go get massages because these little babies got to keep
Oh,
going, dude.
see, I didn't even think about that.
You got to keep these going because my
Yeah,
hands get real stiff, and I drink like turmeric tea to
yeah.
kind of help with the swelling and all that. But I at one point like my shoulder, my neck seized up, so I was like,
Oh
okay,
shit.
I don't like to like I don't like strangers touching me, so I was like, I guess I have to go get a massage,
Yeah,
and sure enough, it was amazing. Now I'm like 2 hour
yeah.
session or something. It's great, but especially for my hands and my arms because it just starts to
Absolutely.
hurt when I'm working too much. So I
When you
go.
overdo it.
She works on my hands and my arms, and and sometimes that stuff like reaches all the way up to your neck sometimes, and then I
Yeah.
start to get headaches. So it's important to take care of all your parts, your body, your mind, your soul, all of it.
Exactly. Yeah, it is definitely. So for the physical, damn, I could just imagine. Yeah, because you're doing a lot of the epoxy and that texture and the kneading and the sculpting.
And then I'm like
Damn.
holding these heavy little pieces in this hand.
Oh,
Like I didn't think
yes.
about that part. She was like, arm is a wreck. And I'm like, why? I sculpt with my left hand. She's like, well, what, do you hold them? I'm like, yeah. Because I don't use I hold them and I move them around as I'm going.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, and they're not light. Like my stuff usually weighs a few pounds, or a pound or two or something like that. But that's not, if you're constantly holding it for hours and you're turning it in your hand, after a while that gets to be a lot. So yeah, she got me all worked out, and I do my stretches, and drink my
Yes.
teas,
Stretch
and
it.
I drink my
Do
teas, and
you do any heat or cold therapy too?
I don't necessarily like to do that because I have arthritis because I broke my arm
Oh
with this
no, then
one.
that would be hard.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's a little harder for me to mess with that. But I mostly just do stretches now. So I got one of those massage guns. So
Oh,
I'll just do
okay.
that on my hand sometimes. That helps,
Oh.
and that helps loosen up my hand.
Oh, good. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, because I would, if anything, I would get it in this area, right?
Yeah,
And then it's
yeah.
like you feel it
Mine
in
swells
both.
like right here, so I just put that in there, and I'm like, and then I'm like, so
Yeah,
that helps.
yeah.
But yeah,
Electroshock therapy too, but I don't know what those would be the cost. Because I would do that on my arms when I had really bad,
is
because
it
I was
those
a
little
hairstylist.
the
Yeah,
tens?
they have little pads and then it just kind of
Oh,
makes it twitch.
you can get
Oh,
those for
those,
like
those aren't
you
No?
that
can get for like
expensive.
$30 on Amazon or something like that.
Oh, really? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I have one for my
Yeah.
butt.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay, I'll have to consider that too when I'm doing anything heavy sculpting. Yeah, because I would usually get it, in this region, but when
yeah.
this hits, it's like not that often. So it would probably be good to have it in case I do have a moment where
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of sculpting.
Yeah, because remember that it hurts here, and then if you don't take care of it, it's going to start to move. Because everything's all connected. This is the thing that I
Exactly.
learned. Everything's all connected, and like I'm like, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
my shoulder's hurting, but she's like, well, it's because of this, because you're doing this, because you're doing this, and everything's connected,
Exactly.
and so it's like it's just going to get worse,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to take longer to get take care of. So definitely, that's the one part of like being an artist. We have to take care of our body as much as we do, as much as we
Everything
want to work
else.
and do everything
Hmm.
else, we have to at least take a little bit of time to do our stretches and do things like that. Because otherwise, you're not going to be doing it for long, or you're going to get exhausted.
No,
You're going to burn yourself
exactly. You're
out.
going to burn yourself out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Self-care is super important. And even though it's like, yeah, we push it for, the sleep or whatnot, you have to balance that because eventually, yeah, you're just running on fumes.
And the thing is, I'm saying this, but I'm literally the worst at balancing. Like
Oh, me too. But you
I'm like,
feel it and you recognize it. So at
yeah,
least,
I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, and balance, and the next thing you know, I'm like, oh
yeah,
shit, it's like 10. So
yeah,
I'm trying much harder, and that's probably why I'm making less because I'm trying to be a little because I'm old, man. I'm 43. I need to take care of myself. I need to get sleep.
yeah,
It's been, so it just takes time. So I've definitely rolled back how much I do these days, just so that I can make sure that I don't get out of hand again. And
exactly.
I'll start to amp it up as soon as I get everything kind of balanced out. Yeah,
Yeah.
but balance is tough, and I talk about it all the time. And I'm constantly not balanced. So it's a constant work, but we
Yeah.
got to do it. But yeah, yes, self care.
Yeah,
I like that.
exactly. Well, yeah, it's like as much as we talk about it, that doesn't mean that we're perfect at it. Yeah.
No,
And like you said, yeah, mind, body, everything needs to be, yeah, equally taken care of.
yeah.
Definitely agree. Trying to think of what the other question. I had two questions that came my way. One had to do with the younger self. I don't remember. Do you remember? Did you have any others, Yessie? Before we wrap it up, because we're already over.
No, that's all I had.
So just wrap it then. Wrap it up. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
remember the other question. I'm drawing a blank. Had to do with not what advice. Ugh, I forgot. Ni modo. Oh,
Oh, I mean, there's always the one question that we ask that we haven't asked. What do you listen to while you're arting, or do you listen to something? Do you play
oh
music?
yeah.
I
Quiet?
do both. I like to watch documentaries. I normally will watch documentaries while I'm working.
What
Trying
kind
to
of what kind?
what kind of true crime, man? I am
Oh
all
yes,
about that life.
us too.
Oh my god. Hey, you got to stay ready. I got to know. I
I
got to
think we
know
could
who can I
true
trust.
crime part of it too.
Yeah,
I'm like,
gotta stay.
who's gonna kill me? Who's the killer? I gotta stay
Yeah,
ready. No,
yum.
yeah, I like true crime. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts when I was driving to work a lot and all that, but I don't drive anymore. So when I'm working, I usually put a documentary. I kind of watch, looking at it, and then I listen to music. It depends on if if I want to be hyped that day, or if I'm like in a mood and I want to be emo. So I have like I make playlists. I'm a playlist hoe. I
Mhm.
love playlists. I'm like, what mood am I in? Boom, 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 boom.
Yep,
So
Same.
it just depends on what mood I'm in. But I listen to a lot of music. I try not to watch too much because then I get distracted sometimes. I'm like, damn, I'm like watching them. Oh shit, yeah. When I start getting too distracted by what I'm watching, or if I'm like, I can't do both, like because sometimes I'm easily distracted. So I'll just put the music on. But then sometimes I get distracted by the music. I'm like, I don't want to listen to that song. I don't want to listen. I'm like, I'm the worst.
Oh, yes. I get in that too. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hard.
I'm a procrastinator.
Yeah. Like this song isn't sad enough and I want to cry. Next.
Yeah,
That kind
I
of thing.
need
It's not
cheers.
creative enough.
Yeah, I need some hype. No,
Yup,
yeah.
exactly.
I'm like, no, this is hype enough. This isn't hype enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Or especially like when I'm drumming, because I can't see the cheesemate, how she died or whatnot, or he died. So I'm like, okay, let's do music. And same thing. Like you've got the loud, fast pace, you're drumming, blah, 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 blah. So
then you over drum. Oh shit. Oh.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's happened. I'm like, I'm knocking arm off. Damn it. No.
Yeah. Oh
Uh,
my gosh.
yeah.
The pieces are pretty, like the epoxy though, it's pretty indestructible. Like, have you ever tested? Like, that's one of the
So
things I did at the beginning. It's like, okay, I don't want to sell it yet because I don't know how, foolproof it is or how, so I would test them. Did you
mhm.
ever with
Well,
yours?
the test alone is me because I drop things all the fucking time.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
such a klutz. I drop things. I looked down and somebody said that they had a great morning. Got to go draw monsters. Enjoy.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for hanging
uh,
out with us.
so yeah, no, I there was a couple times where I was taking them to do something with them. I don't know if I was going to primer them. At that time, I used to use spray primer. I don't anymore. Um, and I think I dropped one down the stairs. And I was like, oh, and there was a couple like little things. So in general, I like the epoxy. I've tried Magic Sculpt, and I used to use more Magic Sculpt than epoxy sculpt because the epoxy only comes in the little quarts.
Yeah.
But which is fucking annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, it's I just prefer the epoxy, but I do have Magic Sculpt to help base things out when I can remember.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, to do that crumb layer kind of.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've stuck
So
to epoxy. I actually mix an air drying clay in with my epoxy.
really,
It makes it a little bit lighter. And it's
oh,
easier for like shaping afterwards if I have to either chisel or Dremel. It's like butter.
I'm just so used to epoxy now that it's just I'm like, how's this feeling? So then I put the
Yeah.
stuff in it to kind of soften it a little bit, or make it a little more cohesive because sometimes it starts to smear too much if it's getting
Mm-hmm.
older. But
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes when it's really fresh, you're like, oh no, it's a little too goopy.
Yeah,
So it's
too
like,
tacky. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, and that's the thing is it's funny because like as time goes on, you're like, you get used to it. And I'm like, okay. And then I'll wash my gloves so that I don't leave like chunks of clay on anything. So I like epoxy. It works good. It's indestructible virtually. Not it's not indestructible, but
For the
it's
most
probably
part.
the strongest one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just
So
try to
Sandy
be
says, yeah,
proud
Sandy
of
said, how do you
everything.
feel when kids say you are the inspiration to make art? How does that make you feel?
Oh,
Knowing
it's
that you're
stressful.
inspiring.
No, my nephew likes to make things, so he's always like, I'm gonna do like you. And I'm like, oh,
Oh.
I'm like, please, I'm like, oh God, no, it's. I hope I'm like, please don't let your children look at me and think that that's something that you need to do. No, it's sweet, and I always encourage them to be creative, and I try to be encouraging to them because being creative I think is important. It doesn't matter how you are, how you do it. It doesn't matter if you're like, well, I'm just crafty, I'm just this. It's not important. Everybody has to. I always struggle with epoxy. Yeah, it was tough at the beginning, but it's just a matter of timing things and figuring out when it's the best for you. Like I know
Mm-hmm.
some people like to wait time. I personally like to use it, and then what I do is I kind of lay it out. So I'll mix it. I'll clean my
Mm-hmm.
gloves up to make sure I don't have any goop or anything on, and then I'll go in and I'll start using it. And then I use this. I use that whatever liquid it is. I put that on there. Um, or the water, you can put that on there and just kind of smooth it out, and then I do my textures. But it's all knowing when. So it's like immediately if I try to sculpt into it, it's going to do that whole thing where like it looks like ice cream where it kind of just separates. So you got to give it a little time to harden a little bit as it's on there. So it's just timing, and you get your own workflow. And that's the thing is like, it never cures right for me, and I'm so impatient. Well,
Oh.
when you pull it out, it depends. Like I don't like doing little batches of it. I generally try to keep them about this big because then I start to have issues. So you don't want to mash it to measure them against each other. I normally pull it out, and I pull it out and I see that they're similar mass, and then I mash them together. But if you start
You
like
don't
you,
weigh yours out, Vanessa?
I don't weigh mine out.
Oh, I love it. Yes, that's
Oh
amazing. No,
no,
I weigh
I'm
mine
like
because I fuck
guesstimate.
it up every single time. And then
Really?
it's like it's not the right texture. Yeah. Well, because I use three parts. Maybe that's why.
Oh,
So I have
that
to
might be
make
why.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You have to balance out everything in there. But no, not me. I'm like, all right, this looks about this size, but I don't ball it up. I try to look at the mass
Like a
of it.
flat.
Yeah, I
Ah.
just pull them out, and I pull some out, and I look at it. I'm like, okay. And I pull some out, and I look at it. I'm like, those are similar. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So, and I don't have any problems with, but I also don't mix anything else into them. So,
Mm.
other than using water is okay, but it does kind of like get that white film on it. And then there's that. How was it called?
Like alcohol, right?
Oh, the safety solvent.
Oh, okay.
That stuff is really cool, but it is like a you can't use too much of it, but enough of it so that it'll smooth it out really nicely. And so I use that, and I stopped using water because of that white film that would kind of get on
Mm.
there, and then sometimes it would just get too slippery. Um, so I tend to use that now.
Oh,
Um,
funny. Yeah, I use a shit ton of water. A shit ton of water goes
oh
into
yeah,
my,
I
so you've
used
got the
to.
light and the dark, right? As far as the two, one's a little lighter than the other. The lighter one, I put a shit ton of water in, mix them together, and throw the air drying clay in as well.
That sounds like
It's
pure
like
chaos.
drenched.
That
Yes.
sounds like pure
But
chaos.
it has to be, that's why I have to weigh my chaos. Yes, because it's like goopy and
Oh
mushy. But
no,
then it turns more into like a ceramic clay.
I have my
The
little cup of
epoxy I
water.
can't. Yeah.
No,
The epoxy I can.
I mix it dry, no water or anything, and I mix it
Oh
up,
my gosh.
and then I check the and I mix it up really, really well.
Yeah.
I do the little worms and everything
Yeah,
that's
that's what I was
missing.
gonna ask if you do worms, if you fold. Yeah.
Yeah, do that, and then I fold them together, and then I do that, and I fold them together, and then I mash, 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 and then I do worms, and then I check it. I smear it out to check it, and then I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. And then I clean my gloves, and then I have water, and I have solvent, and then I sit there, and I'm like, I lay it down, or if sometimes if it's separating too much, I'll put a little bit of safety solvent, and it softens it a little bit.
Okay.
And then each water smoothing out while sculpting. Yeah, I did for many, many years. I just started using the solvent probably a couple years ago.
And that's probably
Uh,
better. Yeah.
well, for me, it just stopped doing that milky thing where gets goopy, and it's just because I would use so much water. Sometimes I would use too much water, and it's with anything. It's like I get a little overexcited about smoothing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, we
yeah,
want to do anything to save from sanding. Fuck
yeah,
sanding.
fuck sanding. I hate sanding. That's why I
Mhm.
have texture. So I'm like, that's supposed to be there.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's a process. But yeah, I used water for many years, um, and it was fine. I think this stuff helps with like blending more because
Mm,
all of my stuff goes over each other. So it's like sometimes when you get to that blend, you can still see it, and that drives me nuts. So this helps with the
mm.
blending part. But yeah, this is it's just time. It's just figuring out that perfect timing of when you lay it down, when you're, like I prefer to smooth it when it's been on there for a little bit
Mm.
because it doesn't move as much because otherwise it gets
Yeah.
too slippery. So I let it sit for a little bit and then I go on, I get the liquid on there or the water and then I smooth it as much as possible. But yeah, God, I hate sanding. God,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I don't
I
know
do
if
the
I hate.
same. Yeah. What?
Yeah, I
Which
think I
one?
hate that more than painting. Like I hate painting, but I hate sanding. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think what I hate more. Probably casting when I miscast, when that shit's not aligned. Maybe that's what I hate
Oh my God.
sometimes more than sanding. Because then it's like,
year.
throw the whole fucking thing away.
Like, what a waste. The frustration. I'm like,
Oh.
oh, why am I doing this to myself? Uh,
What was the cheese
I'll
mate? You were
see.
gonna tell us what happened.
Who's
You said
choosing?
one day? You. I thought you were
Me?
saying
Oh,
something
oh yeah,
about what
yeah,
happened.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one day I
Oh, what
was in the
happened?
back pouring resin,
Yeah.
and I was like behind the little shed that's like on there, and my fucking neighbor was watering, and they got water into my things, and I didn't know, and I
Oh
was like,
shit.
what? And then oh, they do not set because you get water into epoxy, into resin, and that's it.
Resin. Mm-hmm.
And then I had to clean those fucking things out. I was so furious. I
Oh
was
my
like, oh,
gosh.
no, that was salty. Yeah, that's it. I'm done for the day.
Yeah. Fuck this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I use specialty resin. Smooth on is more the popular choice for other people, but for me, specialty resin, I really like it. They have a black one, and I realized if because what I do is I pour it into like ketchup containers, right? And then I measure it out so that way I'm not opening my gallon all the time. Well, then I fucking forget that this shit's been aerating this whole time. It's, oxygen is in there. And so one of the first batches that I was casting, um, they were exposed and compromised. And even though I'll do like a sealant, fuck that. It's still somehow. So either heat or cold, something fucked with the resin. So anyways, I pour it and nothing set. And so the black has a worse texture when it's fucked up than the white. It was like this tar. It was just like, do you remember Fern Gully?
Vaguely.
Do you remember the monster that had like the seeping tar like
Yeah,
everywhere? Yeah, yeah, that's what it was like. It was just everywhere. Everything it touched, it
like
was
a Land
just
Before Time. Isn't it a video?
yes,
Yeah,
yes, exactly. Yeah.
like
Or
aging
like
myself. No.
Atreyu's what was his name? Was that his name? Atreyu?
Oh,
Never ending
oh,
story?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Atreyu was the kid,
Was that
right?
the horse or the kid?
That was
Somebody
the
help.
kid. The
Yeah, yeah,
horse was
yeah.
something else.
The horse was what was the horse? But Atreyu's horse. Well, whatever his name was. Yeah. It was like
Which
him.
is, yeah, I
Just
can't
getting
remember.
sucked in
It's
the
been too
plat.
long.
It was
I tried
everywhere.
watching that movie. It's not as good as it was when I was a kid. When you're a
Oh,
kid, you
really?
have no taste. You're like, I watched this garbage when I was younger. Yeah, I'm
Oh
like, oh, I used
shit.
to love this show, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, why? What's wrong with me? Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
your brain's
Yeah.
not fully formed. I
No.
probably still isn't. Um, but yeah, I just resin is such a pain in the ass, and it's like, I've
Mm.
had things, like, and then like, and the thing is, when you think about it, it's not hard. It's the problems that when you have
Yeah, it's
problems,
it's engineering. Yeah, it's like
it's
figuring
engineering.
out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, why is it doing this? What do I need?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like I'm looking at, I'm looking for an answer. Why is it doing this? How do I
Yeah.
fix this? What
Yeah.
can I do? Yeah, but it's cool that there's so many more people on here that are, that are doing it now. But it's not really my favorite, and I don't do it often. Um, and I think, and more so than the resin part,
Mm.
other than my hands wanting to fall off of my body when I do resin, is
Yeah.
I don't like painting, and if I'm doing duplicates, I have to paint all of them.
Yeah. You were saying that you do not do spray primer. What do you use now?
I brush on primer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. What kind of
Um,
brush on?
I use this one, Liquitex Black.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I brush it on. Um, I don't know. I'm just I don't like spraying. I paint everything by brush in hand. I I wanted to do airbrush, but I'm a control freak. B, I'm just it stresses me out because I'm like, you're not doing what I want you to do. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm like, so I just get the brush, and so I brush on. I paint everything by hand, and I brush on my varnish too because there's this very, I like the varnish that I like to use because I like a really flat finish. I don't
Yeah.
like, I don't
Oh,
like,
let's see. Because I
I
haven't
like,
found a flat for, yeah, look at
yeah.
that.
So I like things to look flat because my textures look better when they're flat and they don't look
Yeah.
all glossy or like mid gloss. So
Yeah.
I use the Galleria matte varnish.
Oh.
This is the flattest one I've found.
Yeah, everything that I've tested for
Everything is
hand brush. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it has like an eggshell or a satin finish, which I freaking hate.
Yeah.
So that's the only matte varnish that I've found that stays flat, and I've tried so many different ones. Um, so that's the one I use. That one in the gloss, and that one's like my stuff looks like how I painted it. You know what it is also is I painted one time, and I was using cartoon color at the time, and I sprayed a varnish on, and it changed the colors, and it stressed me the hell out.
Oh
And then
no.
I was like, oh shit. So then I let it dry, and then I brushed on the other one, and it fixed it for the most part, and it wasn't
Mm,
terrible, but it fixed it, and the color went back to kind of what it was because I
mm.
only had only sprayed just a tiny bit, and yeah. So I don't mess with spray. I don't mess with airbrush. I don't mess with any of that. Um, there's just a very, it's hard because I have so many details. I think it would be easier to do airbrush if I had stuff that didn't have so much detail.
Mm.
But anyway, yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I use.
Wow. Just thinking about that, yeah, the finish, the colors, everything. And I love how you're being honest about not liking the paint process, but it's like shit, man, it comes out amazing. The
Well,
textures are just insane. And that's added on top of the textures you've built in on like 5,000 fur petals.
yeah. And that's the thing is like, I may not like painting, but
Yeah.
I work hard to get the sculptures and make them the way they look. So that's your fucking ass. I'm going to paint the hell out
Oh
of it
yeah.
to the best
Hmm.
of my ability because, I want it to look the best.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What kind of paints do you use? Juan's asking.
I mix a lot of different ones. I've
Same.
dabbled in um I used to use cartoon color, but they're no longer available. So I do my own mixes of everything, but I've started using these Lascaux Studio. They're like matte colors.
Oh,
These are
okay.
really good. Because again, I don't like gloss because it gets tacky or sticky, or it'll stick to my hand or my glove when I'm
Hmm.
painting. So that
And then
drives
you
me
leave
nuts.
patches. That's happened to me
Yeah.
before where I'm like, fuck, where did this come from?
So
Yeah.
I like matte media, or I use like these.
One
I
of
try to
my
find.
recent favorites that I love for my black and whites is this line.
Oh yeah,
Golden's
I've started
so
using
flat.
So Flat. I've
Love it.
started using a few of those. I think I've gotten a few small ones.
Yeah.
Um,
I just care for the black and white. Everything else, because that's tough. You want to get the opaque. Oh shit. Okay.
I
Yeah.
use
I
these
tried that
Fusion
and I
Fluid
hated it.
ones. Yeah, I mix them with things.
Okay.
It works really good when you mix it.
Yeah, like with mine, I'll do heavy bodies and add gesso, and that
Yeah.
gives me more of the matte finish.
I
But the
also
golden, I didn't like how they were shiny. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate the shine. Well, this one's a matte. This is a matte fluid acrylic. I don't even
Oh,
know if it's available anymore because they've
okay.
changed over the So Flat. But
Oh, that could
I
have been
got
it.
the big jars. And there's another one. I don't even know if I have a jar of it. It's called Flash or something like that. Hold on.
Hmm.
Or maybe I have one in my bottom drawer.
Yeah, but I use everything. I use Vallejo. I use
That's what she said. Um,
this one too. I was surprised. It came with my airbrush kit. And so I was like, oh, if it's coming with my airbrush, it's probably garbage, like cheap
uh-huh.
practice paint. No, it works really good. US Art Supply is the brand. And it's opaque. I mean, they are a little bit shiny if you oversaturate,
Yeah.
but the matte varnish will get rid of it right away. And then I'll do like Arteza. I'll do all the heavy body. I'll aim for a color family or whatnot, and then I'll tailor the texture. So it's like if I'm gonna go with a heavy body, so like I've got these guys. Yeah, crappy craft paint works, girl. So I've
I'm
got
not
these.
I can't get with the craft paint. It drives me nuts. So I also
Why? The
use
texture
this
or the
one. Yeah.
chalkiness? Okay. Oh
Yeah.
wait, I can't see comments getting in the way. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm using the flash. This is good too. It's also matte. Again, it's just for me it's a texture thing. I hate glossy finishes. Um the other one that I use, and this stuff is actually really well priced. Um and it's really
Like I've
this
got these
stuff
guys.
Nova Color.
Oh,
These
yes.
are great, really good prices.
Have you
I
looked into their what is it? Is it the sponsor? What the heck was it called? They're doing artist sponsorships, I think is what it's called.
no,
It's
I've
like a
never heard
program.
it.
So you should check it out. I'm gonna find the link and I'll send it to you to see about
Okay.
being a sponsored artist, and then they can send you hella paint.
Yeah, I don't use like white very often. I like to
Hmm.
use and Nova Color. Their my favorite color is their matte. Like it's like a portrait tone. I think it's called. It's like a little off white. It's
Uh-huh.
great. Yeah,
Nice.
and I use that to mix my colors with.
Okay, that makes sense. Because it's a little bit of a muted tone, and you've got your
Yeah,
undertone of the black. Oh, okay.
yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's the one that I use. But yeah, so that's those are all the paints, the kind of paints I use. And I'm
Yeah.
always trying different ones, but I have to say that these are probably my favorite. They're nice and thick and full bodied, and they mix well with other things. And
Yeah.
so I have a bunch of little jars of all my mixtures, and I'm like,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I need better jars though. That's the hard part is keeping my paint from drying out after a while.
Hmm.
Or, but I do have like the additives, like the fluid stuff.
The fluid release,
So
yeah.
yeah,
But then I feel like those make it shiny. So my recipe is
sometimes.
just water, gesso, and the heavy body paint.
Well, I was reading this thing and I was watching this video about how like sometimes with water it spreads it too thin so it won't stay as long. So it said that you should use mediums that have the same type of body. So I've
Mm.
used those and then I have a matte fluid that I add to it so it
Hmm.
keeps it nice and flat. So like and even like with like
Oh.
the Goldens, like, I don't use that one, but like if I just get these Goldens, I'll put matte fluid because I get it from Golden and I'll put like matte fluid into it. I'm
Okay.
not Golden. I've tried Golden and I've tried Nova, but I'll
Mm.
add like a matte fluid to the paints just to kind of flatten them out a little bit, and that's helped a little bit.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that they had that. Yeah, every fluid release that I would try or thinner, it felt like it left it shiny or a little sticky. Mm.
Slow dry matte
Learning
liquid.
lots of stuff.
I'm dropping everything. Um, no, that's it. But yeah, so slow dry matte liquid, and there's a couple other ones, but everything I try to add matte media to them just to kind of either thin them out or make them more matte because
Yeah,
I can't with the glossy colors, and they're
yeah.
just tacky. Like if I put them down on a
They're
surface,
gonna stick.
there's
Hmm.
or if I put them on like I have like little acetate sheets that I mix paint on,
Hmm.
and they'll just and I'm like, oh,
Oh,
drive me nuts.
yeah,
So I stay away from those colors. So that's why I choose the paints that I choose.
yeah. Trying to think if there was anything else that we had to cover. I still couldn't remember the last question. I'm sorry to the person that asked. So sorry. Um, but yeah, I mean, we're already a half an hour over. We were only supposed
Oh,
to
sorry about that.
chit chat for. No. I love it, and we do the same. We'll just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's nice.
yeah, seriously. And it's always good because everybody enjoys knowing what you guys use and like having those ideas and pointers and everything. So it's
Yeah,
really
sure.
appreciated.
Yeah.
Thanks for
And
having me, guys. It was fun.
of course, it's definitely awesome to have you hang out with us, chat with us, to go off on tangents. If there's any true crime shows, anybody in the chat or Vanessa, if you have anything that you want to send our way, definitely send it to us, guys. We're
All
always
right.
listening and looking for any
Well,
shows or podcasts. We're all for
All
it.
right.
More
There
content.
is one I just can't remember the name. So, but yeah. Okay.
Heck yeah.
I'll see. I'll check and
Yeah,
see what I
because
have.
I'm always like, what else is crazy out there? What else happened? No, I already seen
I
that.
just watch. I love crime documentaries. I like all
Mhm.
kinds of documentaries. I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah. So for sure.
Yeah.
So send them
But
our way, guys.
we'll do.
Apart from
Yeah.
that, anything else that you wanted to share where they can find you or the website, your site, where do you have stuff in galleries right now? Like whatever you want to
Yeah.
close with.
So I'm most active probably here. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched
Yeah.
the. Yeah, I watched the most of the documentary. I haven't finished it, but I was like, okay. I,
Yeah.
I just I like documentaries. Documentaries. It's crazy.
Yes.
Uh, but oh, sorry. So I'm on here at Vanessa underscore Ramirez. I'm active on Twitter. I'm somewhat active on Facebook. I answer questions and just kind of, post the things that I post in other places. What else? I do have a website. I haven't updated it in forever because I'm that person. But yeah, all of my links are in my bio where, I have a link tree. So I have some pieces at Stranger Factory. I have some pieces at Clutter. You can see my older pieces on my website, vanessaramirez.com. And can you believe I actually got my own website, my own name?
Oh, I love it.
I got
Yeah.
it for a class like in 2014. I was doing a web class
Uh-huh.
and I was like, vanessaramirez.com. I was like, oh, it's available. Click.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've had it all these years. So, anyway,
That's awesome.
tangent. But yeah,
No,
that's
because
where
you're
you can
making me
find
want to
me.
go on a tangent too. Mine's a mess. I tried being creative with my name, so I wrote Priscilla in a different format and nobody could actually read it. So then I went back to traditional Priscilla's arte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So we
fun.
could find you on the site, on Twitter. We can find you on Instagram. So your Instagram bio has all the links.
Yeah, it has
It's
a
one
link
place
tree
to.
and it goes to everything. And, I really need to get in, start doing more of the videos and like, on here reels and the TikTok thing. But I'm old, guys. It takes time.
It does. Oh my gosh. That's a whole nother added stress. It's like you have to stay in the frame. Half the time I'm over here. I'm like, shit.
I know. I'm like, I forgot to push record because I was like trying to record for. I'm like, let's try this, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? The struggle is real. This is
Yeah. It is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just have to figure it out. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'll get back into it eventually.
Yeah. Same here. Same here. Same here. Well, we're excited to see your solo show in August. We're excited to see what you bring through my TikTok be wild. I do.
Oh,
That's where I do like all the
you
fun.
had me dying with that one where you're like, your head was floating around. Oh, that Rudy
Yeah, head
Rainbow one.
floating.
I was dying. I was like, oh
It be
shit.
like that sometimes.
It'd be like that sometimes. And you're like,
Hmm.
yeah, I go
Yeah.
TikTok. I'm like, oh, you know what? I look like a hot mess. Never mind. Exit out.
Oh no, it's so much fun though. And some of it, most of the time, if you guys don't notice, so I try, this is balance. I try and figure out when can I engage, when can I interact. And that's usually when I'm taking a food break. So most of my TikToks, I've got something in my mouth. I'm over here chewing.
Yeah, I think I've only posted like I was messing around and because my dog almost got out and I had this video of her from the camera where I was like running after him, so I was jokingly did that run, dude, like did that.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
but I'm like I'm
Yes.
not that
Do
person.
it.
Like I'll joke around, but I don't know. Silly videos have just never really been me. I'm like I'm
Yeah.
gonna look back at this and hate it.
Oh, yes, do it. That's more reason to.
Yeah.
You think I'm gonna be like, oh,
All
that's my proudest moment, guys.
right.
No.
uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, my sister does them in her car. She's like my younger sister. She loves it. I'm like, oh. So like my younger sister's like loves social media. My older sister's like a ghost on social media. She
Oh,
probably floats around but doesn't actually interact with anything or post anything.
yeah.
And then there's me who's kind of in the middle where I'm like, it's a little more like, here's my art, here's what I do. But I'm kind of behind the scenes. So, all right, all right, all right. You know what? I will try to do something stupid on TikTok eventually.
Ah,
All right,
yes.
I'll try it.
Hell
I'll
yeah.
try. I have a new haircut, so I gotta.
Yeah.
So I don't look like as much of a hot mess as I have in the past few weeks. So, man, I was looking like a chia pet. The hair was all
Oh shit. What
such a
didn't
mess.
you post one where it was perfectly?
It was like just sitting straight up. Yeah,
Mhm.
I had a lot of product in my hair that day.
Oh, I love it. That's like a good hair day though. Was that probably the day before you cut it? Because it's like you have a good hair
No,
day right before you cut it.
no, I did
No.
not have a good hair day right before I cut it. It was a mess. I was like, what is this? It's just, yeah, it's so bad. Oh, it was like, this is terrible. And then like
See?
the hair sticking out. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
But
Definitely
no,
time
not
for
right now.
TikTok.
So yes, okay, all right, all right, all right. I'll take
TikTok
up the challenge.
pendejadas.
I'm gonna
Yes.
do something stupid. And then
Yes.
I'm gonna be like, why did I do that? I'll be like, I did it for
Yes.
Priscilla, and I did it for
Yes.
Yessie.
Yes. Yeah,
Follow
it's
my
been
TikTok.
fun.
It's in my link tree.
We
Yes,
love
in
it.
her link tree, in the drop down menu, get on it because there's going to be some fun. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for letting us
Thanks
know a
for
little bit
having
more
me.
about your process and just hanging out. I need more coffee.
So do I. It's time. TikTok
I guess
pendejadas are
so
dead.
too.
Yeah,
Yep.
that'll be a hashtag. TikTok pendejadas.
Yes, that's going to be our hashtag.
I'm a lot of coffee. It's time.
See, it's time.
It's time.
All right, guys. Well, have a good Sunday.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Thanks for people
you.
who hung around.
Yes.
Hopefully I didn't embarrass myself too much. My tangents.
Nah. No, no, no. I love the
I'm saving that
tangents.
for TikTok.
Yes. I should. Well, have a good Sunday, everybody.
Thank you guys too. Bye. Thanks
Okay.
everybody.
Bye.